Welcome to A Little More with Lynn, where we learn a little bit more about the McLaren Greater Lansing Foundation and the people in the community that support the work that we do. Today, I'm going to be speaking to Dr. Gandhi, a cardiothoracic surgeon with McLaren Greater Lansing. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Gandhi. So welcome, Dr. Gandhi. Thank you so much for being with us today. Can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do at McLaren?
Good morning, Lynn. I truly appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I'm Divyakant Gandhi. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon at McLaren for the last 29 years. I've been very fortunate to be a cardiac surgeon. I'll tell you a little bit about my story in a bit, but I was brought up in Africa, Uganda, which is a small country in East Africa, where both my parents were physicians
Oh,
and very prominent physicians at that, especially my mother. So I'm grateful to her for having accomplished my dreams. Um, and, McLaren has given me an opportunity to thrive and practice my specialty and supported me in many ways that I cannot even imagine. So I
wonderful.
appreciate this opportunity.
Well, I know when I think of heart health and a heart healthy community, I think about walkability, access to healthy foods, access to good medical care. Are there other things that would make that list for you?
Well, I think that those are the main things. I think nutrition is extremely important. I think we have gotten away from it. Eating local organic food, I believe, promotes healthy attitude in all aspects.
Yeah.
Um, I think exercise. You mentioned that walkability. Um, that is equally important in this century and in the last century as well. We have gotten away from regular exercises. We have had a very sedentary life. And that becomes a vicious cycle, I believe, that leads to obesity and then leads to heart disease, that leads to further obesity. So we got to work to break the chain. And I think, exercises, nutrition, other aspects of looking after yourself mentally, I believe, all those are very important in promoting healthy lives. And especially that starts with the heart, I believe.
Absolutely. Well, the cardiovascular program at McLaren Greater Lansing is one of the programs that collectively we're all extremely proud of. I know the foundation, we were very excited to be able to be part of getting the TAVR program up and running. And that was a direct result of donations that came from community members that wanted to support McLaren and the work that we do in our community. Can you just talk about overall McLaren's cardiovascular program?
That's a fascinating topic in of itself, simply because McLaren, before it was called McLaren, used to be called Ingham Medical. And Ingham Medical actually was a tuberculosis sanatorium in the early 20th century. And in those days, we didn't have streptomycin or isoniazid medications to treat tuberculosis. So most of these people came to the sanatorium, rested, took it easy for a while. And essentially, surgery was the main forefront for treating tuberculosis in those days. And one of the thoracic surgeons, very prominent, was Dr. Stanley. We had a Stanley wing behind him. And he did a lot of surgeries, and he had the vision to bring in our famous cardiac surgeon, Dr. Shang Chi, after whom a lot of places have been named, including our Chi Drive.
Mhm.
But he came in, he trained as a cardiac surgeon in Toronto, came back and started a program, and essentially was in the forefront of cardiac surgery in the early 60s when nobody else was doing much cardiac surgery. So Ingham Medical has a very prominent background and a lot to be proud of. So, that continued into the late 20th century and early 21st century, but we're still a long ways to go. A lot of procedures are now done that we cannot even imagine could be done. For instance, you talked a little bit about the TAVR program, but that is a new innovation that has, improved leaps and bounds in terms of how we can provide care for really sick patients who have no other choices. And the donation that the foundation gave, I believe, spearheaded and put it in the right direction, helped us accomplish what we wanted to accomplish. But we still have ways to go. There are other disease processes that the foundation can certainly help, and I'm sure that the donors will be excited to know that we have opportunities.
Yeah, one of the things I know our donors really appreciated about the TAVR program is it was one of those procedures where you used to have to leave the community to receive that kind of care. And because of the donations we received, now people can be treated locally, which is, I'm assuming, just a great sense of relief for both the patient and their family to be able to stay local, stay home where they're comfortable, and surroundings that they know and physicians that they know as well. So we love it when we can keep people here in our home community.
Absolutely. I think, a lot of care is being regionalized in some sense, but these are procedures that can be easily accomplished with good infrastructure support. And I think that's what the foundation did, is to provide that infrastructure support. And that initiated the program, and it's going fairly well.
Wonderful. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't take a minute, and I know you're gonna be too humble to say much, but I really want to thank you and your family for making two significant donations to our capital campaign for the brand new hospital. One in particular, you spoke a little bit about your mother and how she inspired you in your own career path and the things that she accomplished. And a recent gift that was made by you and your brother is to honor your mother, which I think is just extremely touching. Can you talk a little bit about that gift and why you and your brother decided to make that?
My mother has passed away about 18 years ago, but we all fondly remember her and the lessons that she inculcated in me, my brother, and my sister, for that matter, have led us to provide service to the community and to society as a whole. And it's time to pay her a tribute. And I believe my brother will say the same thing. So that's why we feel that it is important to pay it forward. I have been very fortunate in that I have accomplished my dreams, but that's because of United States of America. I have moved in 4 continents. So as my brother, he has in fact moved in 5 continents to accomplish what he did. But it was United States that offered us the opportunity to accomplish what we set out to do. But the most important person in my life was my mother. And, I still, every time I come in a fork or I come at a crossroad, I think about what my mother would do. So this is just a small tribute in her honor.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful. I know one of the best parts about my job is walking through the hospital and seeing, because of the namings and the memorials on the walls of the hospital, and knowing that I got to work with people like you that have such reverence and for your parents and your mother, and you really wanted to honor her name, and that makes a huge difference to the hospital, and I think it inspires a lot of people to think about doing the same thing. So your work inspires me, Dr. Gandhi. Your generosity inspires me. And I am so thankful that you're part of the foundation team and support us. And you've always been a wonderful advocate for us and an advocate for heart health and for the programs at McLaren Greater Lansing. And
Okay.
thank you for watching A Little More with Lynn, where we learn a little bit more about the people that support McLaren Greater Lansing Foundation and the health of our community. Thank you.